Alright, welcome back, chippers. Okay, we've covered building a basic box, and in the last lesson we made a box with a lid. So we got hinges on the back, pull on the top. So this is how we have our basic box. Well, now what else can we do with a box? Well, for today's project, what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut these pieces out the same as we did for the box. We're going to replace the bottom with a piece of clear acrylic, and we're going to build a clock. So the first thing we got to do is we're going to have to notch out our board. I have it pre-cut, so we're going to notch that, and then we'll be ready to put our clock together. Alright, so now we're at the saw. So the first thing I did was I've already pre-cut this piece. It's the length of what we need to make our 4 pieces, but the width that we're going to use is 2 1/8 inches. That's how wide our board needs to be for a frame for our clock. And then we have our notch in the middle here that I'm going to clean out a little bit more, which is going to give us a place to put our clock face. So we have that all set. Power's been unplugged because I was making adjustments, so we'll plug that in real quick. Got our push stick. Take this, we're going to turn this on. And again, for safety, we wait until the blade stops, and then we're going to come around. I'm going to pick this up. So there's where our piece of acrylic is going to fit to build our clock. Now we're going to go over to the miter saw and cut these pieces. Okay, now we're over at the miter saw. So we've already pre-cut this 2 3/8? 2 1/8 is our width, and then we've cut our notch in between. So now what we got to do is we've got to cut our pieces. We have to cut 2 pieces 5 1/2 inches and 2 pieces 7 inches, and that'll give us a 7 by 7 box. So put that in there. These are our templates. So I've got this in here. This is a jig. So we're going to cut our 2 5 1/2 inch pieces first. So I've got that all set. We'll plug our power in. And then we're going to line this up, and we're going to cut our 2 pieces. Okay, so that's our 2 5 1/2 inch pieces. So now I'm going to unplug the saw, and we're going to take our 7 inch piece, that's our jig that we're going to use. I'm going to slide that in there and loosen the clamp. We're going to push this back till we get our line. Tighten that back up. Now we'll plug our power in and pick up the piece of wood that I dropped. Let's get that. So now we got to cut our 2 7 inch pieces. And there's our 4 pieces. Okay, we got our 2 5 1/2 inch and our 2 7 inch pieces. And again, just a reminder, the reason why we got the different sizes is you got to take into account the width of the wood to make your box. So now we're going to come back over. I'm going to stain these real quick, and then we're going to go back over, and then we're going to start putting it together. Okay, now this is our 6 by 6 piece of clear acrylic. I've drilled a hole in the middle, and the way I figured out the middle of that is take a straight edge like a ruler, go corner to corner and make a line, and corner to corner and make a line. That way you'll get the center. Okay, this is our clockwork, so what we got to do is we got to make sure that this actually fits into our hole that I drilled. And as you can see, that fits in, so we're all set there. Now what you got to do is we set this down. This is a template right here with the numbers of our clock. Okay, these numbers are a little bit bigger than what we need, but I'm going to take that and put that down, and we line that up right in the center there, and there's our numbers. So then we get our numbers, and this one is pre-done. There's your numbers, all 12 numbers. So if I take this off and show you, when I put that on there, that gives you the mark for that. With our clear acrylic, this is our clockwork. First thing you got to do is the clear acrylic has a protective coating so you don't scratch it when you're cutting it out. So we got to peel that off. And it's stuck on pretty good, so it takes a little bit of time. Peeled off. To get it all the way off. So we got that all off. So now we're going to line our clock up. The way to know the bottom of the clock is there's your battery compartment right there. So that's going to be in the bottom. So we take our clockwork and we put it through the center there. Comes with a washer and a nut. So we're going to put that all together. Screw that in. Get that all screwed in. And we're going to take it and we're going to tighten it all the way up. Get that all nice and tight. But you don't want to over tighten it, but you want it tight enough that it doesn't move too much in the back. So we get that set. So now what we got to do is, here's our hour hand, our minute hand, and our second hand right here. We're going to take these and put them on, and the order they go on is the hour hand goes on first, then the minute hand, and then the second hand. And you got to push them on far enough that they're separated when you put them down. So take that, put that on there, and you take your thumbs and you start pushing that down to get it started. And then what I like to do is I take a pair of pliers, go around the edge, and give it a push to get it in. So we get that in. A little bit more. Okay, and then we take our minute hand and we're going to pop that on. Take that up to 12. Make sure there's separation between the hour and minute hand. Then we take our second hand and we pop that on. Okay, so now we've got our pieces for the outside of our clock. Remember, we got 2 that are 7 inches and 2 that are 5.5. Okay, so on this project, the 2 7-inch pieces is the top and the bottom, and you got to make sure that they're lined up, because the actual groove that I made isn't the same size. So if I flip one of these around, you can see it's not going to line up. So we got to make sure we have them the same. So we take that, we're going to pop our clock into the first part. We're going to take our side, we're going to make sure we're lined up correctly, and we're not, so we got to flip that around. So it's going to go like that to make sure the notch is lined up. Put that side on, do the same thing on this side. Then we're going to take our top and slide it on. Okay, so now we have it together, but now what I want to do is I'm going to clamp this. before we go on to the next step. So I'm going to get this clamped. I'm going to clamp it up and down. So it's basically top to bottom. So we get our pieces all lined up. Now we've got all our pieces lined up. So now what we want to do is we're going to actually nail it together. And put it in our brad nailer. And now that I have that all lined up, I'll put this on the edge, but I've got a piece that's off just a little bit, so I want to turn that just a little bit. And we're going to nail that. Nail that. We're going to flip it around. Make sure we're lined up. Keeping our fingers out of the way from underneath so we don't drive a nail into it. Now that we've done that, we'll flip it over and we got to do the same thing on the top side. Again, we're going to make sure we're lined up. Flip it around. Okay, so now we take our clamp off, and there's our clock right there. Okay, now we're going to go put a battery in it, and we'll bring it out back working. So we started with our basic box. If you can build a box, you can build just about anything. So this is our box. So what do we do next? Just to recap, we put hinges on and put a lid on it, and now we have a box that opens and closes. Okay, what we were just working on is this. We took the same basic concept in the box, replaced the bottom with the fiberboard with a piece of clear acrylic, mounted clockwork inside of it, and there you go. You got a clock that's running. So this is a basic box clock. The nice thing about this is it could be a mantel clock, so you can set it on your desk or your fireplace mantel, or put a hook on the back and you can hang it on the wall. So it's very versatile. And so there you have it. We'll see you in the shop.